Yesterday, while walking down Fifth Avenue, I was stopped by a guy carrying a bunch of packages, clearly on a delivery run, and he asked me something that caught me off guard. It was one of those simple questions you expect when you're known for covering football. Do you think the team has a shot this year? At that moment, I wasn't ready with a solid answer. I kind of stumbled and ended up telling him to wait until we find out where Jalen Ramsey is going to be playing before making any predictions. It wasn't the most confident response, and I could see his face register a bit of confusion, but the more I thought about it after the fact, the more it actually made sense. The reality is the defense needs to find its bite again. The Steelers' defense, to be specific, has always been about toughness and relentless pressure, the kind that forces quarterbacks to panic or make mistakes. If they want to make a real step forward in the 2025 season, that has to come from their defensive unit. Don't get me wrong, the offense needs to do their job too, but I'm not convinced it has to be spectacular. The defense, on the other hand, has to be special. Not just good, but truly formidable. The kind of defense that dominates the line of scrimmage, disrupts timing, and changes the entire dynamic of the game. Now, for that to happen, they can't put all their chips on TJ Watt's shoulders. Yes, he's a game changer, but relying solely on him isn't sustainable. Pressure has to come from multiple angles, and that's where the younger guys have to step up. Derek Harmon, the first-round pick, is expected to make an immediate impact. There's no time for him to ease in. He needs to prove he's worth the hype right away. Then there's Keanu Benton, who can surprise people if given the chance. When the Steelers go with just 2 down linemen, if Benton is left off the field, in favor of Harmon, they might be making a mistake. Cam Hayward, of course, remains a vital part of that defensive front, and his presence alongside younger talent could be the perfect mix to generate pressure from the inside. Pressure from the middle of the defense is crucial when you force the quarterback to choose where to throw the ball, because there's relentless heat coming from the defensive line and linebackers. It makes everything harder for the offense. You create situations where the quarterback has to dump the ball quickly, sometimes making poor decisions, and that's where turnovers happen. Inside linebackers like Patrick Queen can be utilized not only to defend the run, but also to blitz occasionally, adding another layer of unpredictability. The secondary, too, plays a critical role, and with Jalen Ramsey joining the roster, there's new potential to mix things up. We haven't heard where he'll line up most often, but one possibility is slot cornerback. Ramsey spent a good chunk of his snaps at boundary corner last season with Miami, but he also spent meaningful time in the slot and even in the box. His coverage skills are sharp, but he's also known for making plays all over the field, not just in pass defense. Despite some missed tackles last year, he showed a career high in tackles for loss and quarterback hits, which tells me he's not just a passive player waiting to react. He's aggressive and disruptive. I'm not sold on the idea of moving Ramsey to safety, which is a conversation that comes up now and then. Teams sometimes try to reinvent players like him in deep safety roles, but I think that wastes his true talent. Watching elite defensive backs line up way off the line of scrimmage, far from the action, always feels like a missed opportunity. Ramsey is a playmaker who thrives when he's right in the thick of it, making impact plays close to the line, creating chaos for opposing offenses. That's where he's most dangerous. If the Steelers use him in that aggressive playmaking role, bringing him close to the line and letting him show his teeth, the defense becomes unpredictable. Quarterbacks will have to constantly watch their backs, sometimes even running away from Ramsey's pressure. That kind of dynamic, that aggressive mentality, is exactly what the Steelers defense needs to rediscover. A little bit of that old school, fierce style that made them feared for decades. But while the defensive talent is there, or at least arriving, coaching remains a big question mark. The defensive scheme has to maximize what these players bring to the table. In playoff games, coaching is tested like nowhere else. It's where adjustments have to come quick, where the playbook has to open up, and where teams have to pull out all the stops. Unfortunately, recent playoff performances haven't inspired confidence in the coaching staff's ability to make those adjustments fast enough. The early blowouts and slow responses to getting dominated on the field show a coaching staff struggling to adapt. That's not just speculation. The evidence is clear when you look at the way the team has been handled in big games. When you lose badly early in playoff games, when you get down by huge margins against teams like the Ravens or Bills and can't seem to shift momentum, that falls on coaching. There have been times when the Steelers came into a playoff game with a plan that looked good on paper but fell apart against a tough opponent, and the staff wasn't able to adjust quickly enough to turn things around. That kind of coaching deficiency has been one of the biggest obstacles for the team. It's a pattern, not a one-off. Even though there's hope with new defensive additions and changes, you can't ignore the fact that this defense hasn't outcoached anyone since Mike Tomlin took over. They've outplayed some teams through talent and effort, sure, but outcoaching opponents, that's been rare. And it's the kind of thing that shows up loudest in the playoffs, where every decision matters more. The hope is that the new pieces, especially on defense, combined with adjustments in the coaching approach, will finally turn things around. The Steelers have the players, or at least the potential, to build a defense that pressures quarterbacks from all angles, that blitzes unpredictably, and that forces offenses to hesitate or make mistakes. If they can get back to that kind of intensity and aggression, it could be the foundation for a much better season. But it's not just about talent or schemes, it's about execution and coaching in key moments. That's what will make the difference between an early exit and a real playoff run. Digging deeper into the defensive side of things, one of the biggest challenges for the Steelers moving forward is figuring out exactly how to deploy Jalen Ramsey. His versatility is both a blessing and a puzzle for the coaching staff. Ramsey's unique skill set allows him to line up almost anywhere on the field, boundary corner, slot corner, box safety, and excel in each role. But with versatility comes the question of where he can make the biggest impact for the team. Should he stick to being a traditional cornerback, shadowing top receivers and shutting down routes? Or should the Steelers try to harness his physicality and football IQ in more hybrid roles, closer to the line of scrimmage, where he can disrupt plays before they fully develop? In Miami, Ramsey played over 1,000 snaps, with the majority spent as a boundary corner, but a significant portion in the slot and even a few in the box. His coverage skills have always been impressive. He's sharp, reactive, and aggressive in man-to-man situations. Yet what sets him apart is his ability to read offenses and jump routes, creating turnovers and disrupting timing. The 2024 season saw a few hiccups, like missed tackles that were uncharacteristic compared to his previous years. But on the flip side, he recorded a career high in tackles for loss and quarterback pressures, signaling that his impact goes well beyond just covering receivers. Ramsey is a disruptive force. He's the kind of player who makes offenses uncomfortable simply by being on the field. Moving Ramsey to safety might sound tempting, especially considering how teams have used elite cornerbacks in that role in recent years, but I'm skeptical. Safety requires a different mindset. It's less about being the aggressor near the line and more about playing a reactive role deep in coverage, reading the quarterback, and helping out across the entire field. While Ramsey certainly has the skills to play safety, that would take him out of the areas where he creates the most chaos. Historically, some of the best Steelers defensive backs have thrived closer to the action, playing aggressively rather, than sitting back. I'm not convinced that moving Ramsey back into a deep safety role would maximize his potential or suit his natural game. The Steelers need to be a defense that feels alive, hungry, and unpredictable. Part of that comes from players like Ramsey, who can alter the flow of a game with a timely blitz, a hard tackle, or a perfectly timed interception. The ability to mix up coverages, disguise blitzes, and apply pressure from multiple spots on the field forces offenses to stay off balance. That's exactly the kind of defense that once defined Pittsburgh, one that opponents feared because it was always ready to strike. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Rumors are swirling in the NFL world about a potential surprise signing that could shake up the Pittsburgh Steelers roster. Reports suggest that Chase Huntley, the former Miami Dolphins quarterback, might be joining the Steelers in the near future. While nothing is confirmed yet, insiders hint that the Steelers are seriously considering bringing Huntley on board, which has sparked considerable buzz among fans and analysts alike. Huntley, who had a brief stint with the Dolphins, has shown flashes of talent and resilience that have caught the eye of several teams looking for depth at the quarterback position. His time with Miami, though limited in action, showcased his ability to lead and manage the game under pressure, traits that the Steelers have reportedly been seeking as they look to bolster their offensive options. The Steelers have been in this market for a quarterback who can provide reliable backup support and possibly compete for a starting role if needed. Huntley's skill set and experience, albeit still developing, could fit well within Pittsburgh's system, which values a strong, smart, and adaptable QB. This potential move would add an interesting dynamic to the Steelers' quarterback room and might push current players to elevate their game. Fans are eager to see how this possible signing could influence the Steelers' strategy heading into the next season. With the team historically known for its tough defense and steady offense, a new quarterback like Huntley could bring a fresh energy and competitive edge. Speculation is growing that the Steelers might be aiming to create a more versatile and unpredictable offense, something Huntley could help facilitate. While negotiations have not been officially announced, the mere possibility of Huntley joining the Steelers has created a wave of excitement and debate. Some experts believe this move could be a clever gamble by Pittsburgh, banking on Huntley's untapped potential and hunger to prove himself. Others are more cautious, noting that the quarterback position is critical and any new addition must quickly adapt to the team's demanding environment. As the NFL offseason continues, the chatter about Chase Huntley and the Steelers won't likely die down soon. Fans and commentators will be watching closely for any official confirmation or developments. If the deal goes through, it could mark a new chapter in Huntley's career and potentially be a game changer for the Steelers' offensive lineup. Until then, all we have are rumors, speculation, and a lot of excitement about what the future holds for both the player and the team. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.